Hey guys, and welcome to another demo review, and today we have eehee, and first and foremost, what I want to talk about is the crosshair placement. You always want your crosshair to be first and foremost at head level, and you also want it to be, if this makes any sense at all, where someone is going to be, and we'll hop into an empty server here in a little bit to show you what I'm talking about. But also, you're just kind of sitting in this corner, and I believe you start to look at the wall in a brief second as the terrorists do push. I'm going to fast forward until the terrorists kind of get here. But notice how you're kind of looking at the box. I don't believe your USP sticks out at all if you're looking there. No, it shouldn't. Even the M4A1S probably won't. But you always want your crosshair to be where they're going to be, especially if you're holding in sort of cheeky position like this. Because if they peek you, you're not going to have any idea that they're going to be there. Now when you peek this corner, you peek it a little bit too wide, if that makes any sense. A little bit ineffectively, if that makes any sense at all. And when you're using the USP, yes, the first shot while you are running is in fact accurate. Most pistols it is, but you'd never really want to run and spray with the USP. One, low ammo count, and two, you're probably not going to hit much if you miss that first shot. But we're going to skip to the fourth round, excuse me. Oh, also I noticed you threw a decoy at your teammate. I don't think it hit him, but if it does hit him, it's going to take out one armor, and that means he's going to have to spend the full $1,000 to buy Kevlar and helmet rather than just, what is it, $350 to buy just the helmet. So keep that in mind as a sort of economical thing. Notice it is the fourth round and your teammate still has a Bizone. You have a Scout. The Scout is okay, and one has a Nova. Let's check out the money here. They could have bought an AKs or not AKs, excuse me, M4s easily, but that's more on them and not you. Now here your positioning, it's okay I suppose, but if you miss your first shot, which is very possible for anyone really, you don't really have that many places to go. It's going to take you a while to get all the way back here, as you can see, and you might get caught on these barrels. And I'll hop into a server in a little bit again to show you better positions to take with the sniper rifle, but one of them is here with the op. If you have op, maybe not necessarily with the Scout, but right there you actually just peeked way too wide. You put yourself way out of position, and if these were higher skilled opponents, I guess you could say, you'd be pretty much instantly dead. You never really want to peek that wide. Okay, so round 6 here. Now I want to talk about, first and foremost, all of your money. So you decide to go with an op, and you still have $5,700 left, but you have a teammate here with only a USP, Kevlar, and helmet, and you have one with a Mag 7. You could easily drop, what's his name, Kokoda 7 here, an M4, or FAMAS if you don't quite have enough money or whatever. And he could get full nades and even just a Kevlar vest, so he could get full nades himself. Because one, you want your team to be fully equipped, and two, well, look at your money. You have quite a lot of money. So next, we do want to talk about your upping here. Oh, whoa, way too fast. There we go. So he sees you, and then you proceed to repeat the same angle, which isn't necessarily that bad, I guess, if you think you can out-op him. Which it is good to be confident like that, but there's many other angles you could re-peek. So instead of peeking right here, you could jump up on top of this box maybe, and peek him there, because he's going to be expecting you to peek from right here. And you do have a teammate holding at car right here, so you could even fall all the way back to Cat, because again you have two teammates way over here. You could fall back to Cat and try and pick them as they cross if they do push, and your teammate will have a nice little crossfire. We talked about crossfires a little bit in another video, but here, again, you're re-peeking the same angle, and now you do decide to fall back to Cat, and you do happen to get the pick, which is good. But when you did fall back, you're a little bit out of position here again. You could easily get picked and traded. If you had fallen back right here, again, you could get the same pick, but you'd have the option to fall back here. And then here, you just peek a little bit too wide. And again, we're going to hop into a server in a little bit to talk about that kind of thing, but again, you just peek a little bit too wide there. Alright, so we're just going to fast forward here until the terrorists do rush mid. They're going to be rushing mid here pretty briefly. And actually right here is not necessarily a good position. And I'm going to pop out here. It would be a good position if you had a teammate watching long. I can't fly around while I'm pausing, I guess. But if you had a teammate positioned like here, watching long, it would be okay because he'd be able to either hold them back or get the intel, and then you could rotate from here up onto site or even onto cat if you had a teammate watching the cat area. The most important thing is being aware of where your teammates always are, because if you're sitting right here and you're watching mid, you could maybe get the pick on cat, you could get the pick in mid, but if they come here, you'd have no idea. So you always want to be aware of where your teammates are and use them to your advantage, if that makes any sense. And also, you do decide to rush down mid with the op while you have 3 teammates watching mid here. I guess 2 technically, but you do get the round, but it's not really necessarily wise to rush with the op. I know you got smoked out, but the op has a very powerful scope. You could sit at car here, be covered from long if you're sitting like right in here, and still pick mid. So that's just something to keep in mind. Would you be covered from long if you stood right here? Not really, but you could stand like right here and be covered from long and still see most of them as they crossed. So right here, the main thing is, again, not a very good position to sit in when you're opping if your teammate isn't watching long, especially since he's watching cat and you're watching long from a pretty easy to pick position, because again, you don't have very many places to fall back. You could, I guess, maybe jump on the box, but that's pretty risky. But again, if you miss your first shot, or if they rush you all full out, then you're pretty much good as dead. And again, right here, if you haven't seen the bomb yet, and you're starting to rotate, they could easily have the bomb sitting right here while they have 3 or 4 sitting in tunnels and 1 sitting down here or something. And then they could take the push onto B, and then they could plant on A right in here. So you never want to rotate until you see the bomb or your teammates say, hey, I need some help at B. But even then, you should keep at least one person on a site at all times until you see that bomb. Then round 9, again, this is more of the too big of the peeking here, too wide of the peak, you know. And actually right here, you have a teammate watching long, right here, and now you do decide to watch cat, but you should always be watching all angles. So you have this guy watching long, now your position is okay, but now you are watching cat, so that is what you always want to keep in mind. Goose, I don't know if it's, well, this is before they actually added the goose paint. I don't like holding from goose, but it is an okay place to hold. But be aware, if your teammate dies here and they sort of full out, balls out rush, you're pretty easy to pick. And again, this position, I'm not a fan of it, but again, it's not necessarily the worst position you could take. Now you do decide to fall back here, and that's okay. And a little trick, unless they fixed it in the recent patch, you can actually sit behind this box, crouched, and there's like this little gap in the box here that you can use to spot, and then you can peek. And again, here you peek a little bit too wide, right up here. Put yourself out of position, you get easily picked. So now we are on the terrorist side. I just want to talk about some terrorist things rather than just full out on CTs. And I'm just going to fast forward until they plant the bomb. They do take the site. You jump down into the CT, which isn't necessarily the wisest move, but it's not necessarily terrible. And what I want to talk about is how you go on the hunt on pistol rounds while the bomb is planted. You really have no reason to leave the site, especially on pistol round, because one, if they save their pistol, not the biggest deal, even if it's like a 5.7 or something. But 2, if you die and still take the round, you're just giving them more money. And especially right here, this guy actually knifes him, or knifes you. But hunting on pistol round isn't necessarily the wisest move. I keep saying mood, excuse me. And the only time you really want to go on the hunt is when you don't want your enemies to save like an AK or, I don't know, an op or something, and you're pretty well set financially. And if you're pretty certain that you know where he would probably be. Okay, so round 17 here. Only thing I really want to talk about is flashing over long here. That's not the most effective flash because, one, it pops right here. It's not really going to blind them. And what you could do instead of that, and we'll see it again in a little bit, you can stand right here, throw it off of this wall right here, and it should pop about right here. And anybody holding this angle right here will be blind. And maybe even somebody playing in the pit will and should be blind, because again, it will pop like right about here. Alright, so right here, take a little bit long to throw the smoke. You want to throw it pretty quickly. And for that smoke, you can actually throw it and have it bounce off right here, and it'll land like right here and cover anybody playing back of sight. And you should never, never, never rush through smoke. They can see you way, way, way before you can see them. I know you see pros do it sometimes, and 9 times out of 10, those pros will get mowed down by somebody on the other side of the smoke. And even in matchmaking, even in pretty much anything, because again, they can see you well before. Now here, your positioning is not so good. Again, your crosshair is just kind of looking at that box. But you're visible from here, you're visible from here, and you're, no, not quite visible from tunnels. Maybe like right here, they could see your back, but you just gotta work on your positioning when holding the sight. You don't want to be visible from more than one angle, basically. Alright, so round 19 here. Main thing I want to talk about is actually rushing through smoke again, because again, they can see you well before you can see them. And I believe it's actually right down here that it happens. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Alright, let's plant the bomb. Now, so you can still not see them. Quarter speed. So you can barely see them right here. Let's put it at like 6%. Just so I can move around. Wow, that's weird. So you can barely see them right here. Notice how far out of the smoke you actually are. And it does actually get you killed here. Let's actually put this at 1 speed because this is horrible to watch. But again, notice how far out of the smoke you were on their screen, but on your screen you were still in the smoke. So again, it's never wise to rush through smoke. So finally here again, the flash over is not the best. They can easily avoid that. And again, that doesn't work that effectively. Now here, once your team actually takes the site, and it's never necessarily that wise to have the op go first, but it's not the worst thing in the world, I guess, if he's extremely good with the op. Now holding along right here, especially with an op, you're a little bit peaked wide, and right here with the op is not necessarily the best place to be. If you want to hold long, you could sit like either in pit, or you could sit at this angle right here, because if they push you, you can actually fall back to car fairly easily, and then pick them, especially if you have a teammate to help you out. But that's basically all I want to talk about in the demo, and I'm going to hop into a server right now and talk about some more things. Alright, so first and foremost, crosshair placement, again, always at the head level. And when you're rounding corners, you always want it to sort of follow the edge of the wall, if that makes any sense. So if I'm rounding this corner, keep it sort of with the edge of the corner, because if you're peeking it like this, and someone's right there, oh, you have to move your crosshair and then shoot. But if you're peeking it like this, your crosshairs are automatically going to be right where these people are, right here. And if it's at head level, oh, boom. Or, boom. Now, you were peeking a little bit wide. Let me actually fly over here onto Cat. You're actually peeking a little bit wide on Cat. You're going like this, which is okay. What you could do is try and shoulder peek, and what I mean by that is only showing your shoulders, kind of bait out the shot, to 1, get their position because you didn't know where they were, and 2, if they shoot, look how slow it is. I'm spamming my mouse button, and it's a good like second or so until I can shoot again. So if they shoot and then you peek, you could easily pick them before they could necessarily even get back behind that wall. If they're smart though, they'll shoot and duck behind cover, and then change their position a little bit, and then shoot, change their position a little bit. And notice how you can see through this little pole right here. You don't even need to peek that wide. You can still see them and still pick them. And again, you could peek way back here. And still see them pretty easily. When I was talking about taking this position up here, this is a pretty common spot. I mean, you have to have pretty fast reflexes, but you can see them around the corner, shoot, and then drop down into the CT. And you would usually have a teammate watching along right here, and you could fall back here. Your teammate has you covered here, and then pick them. And what I was actually talking about on this site, where you could see through the corner of the box, Actually, it's actually this box, I'm sorry. You can actually see through the corner of this box. Like this. And notice how you're not really that exposed, but you can still shoot them. And it goes through the box, so it will hit them. I don't know if it'll do 100% damage, but again, it's a pretty cheeky position, but you have to be way back here. And then if they do happen to take cat, again, you can see through the corners of the boxes. Give yourself a little bit of room, and boom. Now again, you rush through spawn with the op like this. You can play way back here. Perfectly okay. See how you can see if they cross there? I mean, usually they'll cross it wide and you're not exposed from the long angle. I don't like these cars because they're kind of annoying to jump on, but... And if they are coming along, you can kind of jump over. Hold this angle like that. Rotate a little bit. And peek them. Now if you are actually encountering an op, I think Adren or maybe Steel talked about this a little bit. Again, the shoulder peek. They can see your shoulder right now. They fire. You get their location. You peek wide because you'll see them before they see you. You have peeker's advantage because one, again, you know where they are. And again, when they're rushing long, you kind of repeat the same angle. You know, you shot there, and then you did it again. What you could have done is shot, jumped up here, shot again. Although that is a little bit risky because they'll see you. Or you could have shot and then fallen back to like right here maybe. Gotten the pick. And then if they do happen to get by, you could take out your pistol. Or you could just kind of hold it like this as a peek. Or you could always fall back to cat. Especially if you know a teammate is watching your cat. You could fall back here. Get the pick. Jump up here. Get the pick. And then if you really need to, you could actually fall all the way back down. And then try and get the picks from there. You always want to be mobile with the op. I noticed that you did pretty much get the op 90% of the time, especially on CT. You always want to make yourself hard to predict with the op. You never want to be sort of a static target. You know, you're trying to pick cat, you're just sitting here, boom. Okay, I got the guy. Oh, I missed him. Oh, now I'm dead. You always want to change your position pretty much after every pick or even every time you get spotted. So, you're playing right here. Yeah, you're playing right here, your teammate's watching long. You shoot him and then... Oh, I repeat the same angle. Get one tap. So, you shoot them there, and then you can come up here. Because it's going to be a little bit until they can get more than one person up the stair usually. I mean, it is pretty wide, but they never really peek more than two people at the same time, because that sets them up for being collateral, which basically just means you shoot a guy through a guy and kill them both. So you could even peek like right here. It's a pretty decent spot. You're not really that exposed from mid. And usually on Dust 2, you'll have people watching mid. So you pick there, and then you can peek here. And then you can hold this angle. So there's a whole bunch of different things you can do. And again, watching long, like on that last round, you can hold this angle, get the pick. Either take out your pistol or your knife, fall back here. And then you have your teammates watching the site. Have them watching cat. Have a guy probably posted in like Goose or behind this box here, helping you out. So you could peek this angle, boom. And then you could even fall back here. Boom. And actually you can do sort of a cheeky little thing here. And let me see if I can... And what you can also do is if you have a teammate that's holding along with you, and you have like 3 playing on A site, you can have another teammate sit here at car, like right here. I just have a bot and have another bot right over there. We can actually jump on top of his head with the op. Creep over. Notice how you can see right over. And creep over, creep over, creep over. And look how much you can see. You can see all the way back here. You can see all the way over here. And then... Oh. You can see him. That didn't kill him. What? And then you can kill him. So that's just some of the things that you can actually do with the op. But hopefully some of these little pointers here helped out some of what you were wondering about. As always, thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.